And welcome to the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Kirby team. And Murphy, 4 games in the book. Seems like the season is flying by.
All too fast. It does that every year, and it isn't changing any of that at all this year. Almost to the midpoint of the season will be next year, next week.
That's for
more
sure.
Or less. 11
weeks, and a lot of people have a bye. Some people are already having those, and then others will have those coming up in the near future.
I'm glad that they've gone to everybody having at least one Thursday game. It gives people like us that have specific responsibilities on Friday night a chance to see some other schools that we might not otherwise.
That is for
we
sure.
can stay at home and watch them on DTC, can't we?
That's right. Let's look at some highlights. Watertown at Gordonsville, the KFC Taco Bell of Gordonsville and Smithville stats, and it's real one-sided. Only 76 total yards for Watertown, 4 turnovers. We saw back in a game earlier where they had 5 turnovers in a loss to Fayetteville, but turnover bug bit hard for Watertown. Of course, in that game, Murphy, they jumped out 14-0. And then the next score I hear is the final score, and it's DeKalb 26-14. So the Tigers of Steve Trapp going a 26-0 run to finish that ball game.
Wasn't much better at halftime. Watertown still in control, but as I understand it, DeKalb scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I really thought that game was, thought Watertown had it in hand, so I flipped to another channel and started watching another game. And like you, when I finally got the final score, I was quite surprised.
Well, we was talking about KFC Taco Bell of Gordonsville and Smithville. No doubt Chris Jones, who's the manager at both of those places, probably gave him some kind of pep talk there that got him going there in that final 12 minutes. At least Chris would say that anyway. But a good friend of ours. Looking at DeKalb County, 42 rushes, 206 yards, Murphy, and that's a tell of tape. 292 to 43. That's a heavy one-sided advantage as far as total offense.
You can get 5 yards on every rushing play. You're going to win a lot of football games.
In the yardage that I had included, I had saw some stats earlier talking about total offense. They only had net 43 because of the, we had some fumble snaps on punts and some tackles for losses and things like that. But, when you look, only 43 official yards for Watertown. So DeKalb's defense stepped up big. And, other than some special team snafus, that probably could have been a lot more one-sided game.
I'd say Coach Trapp had a few select words for those kids going into the fourth quarter. What do you think?
That's for sure. They were trailing 14-3. When you look at DeKalb County, Malachi Trapp, an outstanding athlete for them. 5 receptions, 107 yards, 73-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And then Colby Barnes, he's the bell cow for them. Murphy, 30 rushes, 203 yards, also added a reception. And Barnes is just a tough runner. He's played for 4 years for Coach Trapp. He's a load back there.
That's almost 7 yards a pop. Obviously, pretty good numbers if you're one of the guys that has to carry the mail.
Caden West, the quarterback, 33 yards passing, a couple of interceptions, limited on rushing yards. But when you look, Murphy, it's tough for if you can't generate much offense. I'm sure the time possession was heavy in DeKalb's favor. It's hard to win a ball game.
Yeah, it is. In the last few years, that game has been pretty much dominated by Watertown. So there was a lot of mental part, if you will, going into that game for DeKalb County, and obviously they came through when they had to.
Let's go ahead and look at some more scores and recaps. Webb-School and Cannon County Lions get the win 28-21. And once again, it's Ryan Perkins show, 26 rushes, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kobe Miller, of course, 1 for 1 for a TD at 49 yards, but that line had to do a tremendous job for Cannon County to have that type. Yes, Ryan Perkins, is he a good back? Yes. But Murphy, when you average 9.5 yards per carry, somebody's doing some good things up front.
They just keep getting better and better as we go to another card on the screen. But Ryan's a good young man, and really happy for him to have such a good season. He had that 21-yard game last year, which was 10th overall in TSSAA history for a single back to have that many yards, and it couldn't happen to a better kid. He works really, really hard and had a fairly significant knee injury, I think a hamstring, if I'm not mistaken, maybe, going into the season. But I look for a lot more from him before the year is out.
I think that was Cannon County's first win of the year,
Correct.
If I remember right, Murph. Of course, the Webb School, we thought going in it would be a close ball game, and they had our Briz boys with a couple of passing touchdowns and Martin Hayes a couple of receiving touchdowns. But in the end, the ground game for Cannon County was just too much.
It's the game that turned things around for them. They had another win at this time last year than they do now, but it was not an on-the-field win. It was a COVID situation. So hopefully that helps the Lions turn the corner a little better than they have in the past, and should be an exciting rest of the season for the gang from Woodbury.
Let's look at Eagleville and Gordonsville. Of course, that game down in Eagleville, I think, and Gordonsville, a big win, 34-0. Murphy, we thought that might be a little closer than that, but when you look at Matthew Albritton, 163 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns, 58 yards rushing, so nearly 221 yards, I guess, for him. All-purpose. Peyton Clymer, 3 receptions for 76 yards, a 25-yard interception return for a touchdown. And then Canaan Musgrove kind of getting back in the groove, 8 rushes for 65 yards and a couple of scores. That was a big win for Gordonsville on the road.
Matthew's numbers more like what we expected all season long, but he had a slow start because of that preseason injury, and just had not been on the field maybe enough to get his rhythm together, but obviously he had it the other night. And Eagleville's generally a pretty strong program. Floyd Walker, their head football coach, an assistant at MTSU for a long time. That's a very impressive win for Gordonsville, and hopefully that lights the fire under them for the rest of the season as well. Of
course, they've got about a 2-hour and 45-minute drive to Morristown on Friday night. Of course, that is also a 6 o'clock kickoff versus a 7 because it's on the Eastern time zone. When they travel up, I think it's Lakeway Christian that they go to.
Correct.
In Morristown, which is a new school, the way I understand it, it's a private school. The Owls of Smith County get a big win at Westmoreland. Of course, they've made some mistakes. Had a fumble that went into the end zone that stopped the drive where they hurriedly rushed to the line and snapped it. But the defense, once again, despite giving up 208 yards, Murphy gets the shutout.
Yeah, a couple of interceptions I see on the screen from Caden Powell. That's a little uncharacteristic, but a win is a win.
Right.
And Westmoreland's a very good football team this year, and to go to Westmoreland and come away with a shutout victory like that says a lot for Smith County, I think.
Smith County's guys up front did a great job. Of course, that's Powell's first 2 interceptions a year, and the second one was not his fault. Minute 40 to go in the game, we throw a kid, a wide receiver, a ball, hits him right in the hands, Murphy, and he flutters it up in the air, and he might as well just caught it and handed it to the Westmoreland defender. Conversely, the Owls had 2 interceptions dead in their hands with one of our defensive backs, and it hit on the numbers twice, and he dropped them both, which could, yes, you got the shutout, but still, I don't think they would have had as much yardage had that happened. But Powell, 47 yards rushing, 35 yards passing. But the Owls ground game and the Owls up front offensive line dominated the game. Peyton Hicks, 16 rushes, 105 yards, 3 receptions for 28. Bryce Curry, 16 rushes for 95 yards and a touchdown. The Owls were just stellar play in the offensive and defensive lines.
They've got the beef up front to get that done on a regular basis, and as long as they keep playing like they did last week, it's going to be a fun year to be an Owl fan, I'm sure.
Cameron Eden, 4 for 16, 65 yards, 32 yards rushing. Then Eli Stafford, 4 rushes, 16 yards, 3 receptions for 56 yards. The stat of the game, I guess, Murphy, they got inside the Smith County 35-yard line 4 times.
Oh, dear.
They never got inside the 23-yard line, 0 for 4 on 4th down. So when it got 4th down, the Owls defense stiffened.
Obviously, you being the play-by-play guy for Smith County football, how many sacks did the Smith County defense come up with?
0.
Really?
First time all year that they had no sacks for the game. Now they had 3 or 4, tackles for no gain, but still, when it came to that, they kind of bent but didn't break and wound up getting the big win. We'll take a look at the region scores when we return, as we remind you you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
2 delicious options, 2 convenient locations. So make the entire family happy with just one stop to KFC Taco Bell. Located at 501 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville and 105 East Broad Street in Smithville, we've got you covered at KFC Taco Bell, no matter the food craving. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead, get in the car and kick that hunger to the curb with a quick visit to KFC Taco Bell. Located in Gordonsville and Smithville. Stop by today.
At DTC, we're proud to provide the communication and entertainment services you need to get the most from today's technology.
Earn a $25 bill credit for you and $25 for your favorite local school when you add or upgrade internet service or TV with DTC.
Get the technology you want, backed by local customer service from neighbors you know and trust. DTC Communications, your total communications provider.
And welcome back to The Box Score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Ferret. Justin Malden always doing a great job for us behind the scenes. And Murphy, we're going to take a look at some Sonic Carthage scores. First for Week 4. Out of Region 4, 1A, Joe Burns, a big win over Houston County, 41-6. Clay County keeps rolling, still undefeated, 38-6 over Cornersville. And Red Bowling Springs, either 12 or 13 players the Bulldogs had. They go to Cosby up in East Tennessee and win it 28-27.
With a dozen players, or
12 or 13,
or a baker's dozen, whatever you want to call it. That's it.
They had some suspended. It rumored that they may not even be able to play, but I don't know if they pulled any kids out of the classroom and throwed helmets on them and said, hey, you're starting or playing or you're backing up or what. But I do know that they can go to Cosby and get a huge win. Murphy, that's got to do a lot of confidence for the Bulldogs.
Well, absolutely. And Cosby's a pretty good football team this year. I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they're sitting on top of their region right now. It's traditionally not a great football program, but they're 2-2 overall, 1-0 in Region 1. And maybe we ought to give our Hustle Award to Red Bull, and that's incredible with only a dozen or more kids.
Region 4 2A, looking at their scores, East Robinson a big win, 55-14. Look like them and Westmoreland are doomed for the region championship a little bit later.
Yeah, Macon County with another big win. Their next door neighbor, Trousdale County, and I mentioned last week, I think, that not since 57, that's right, did Trousdale County start 0-3. And that loss to Macon County made them 0-4. We might have to go back to the Civil War the last time that happened.
Well, you look, they've got Westmoreland this week, and then they've got Smith County. So 2 tough foes for the Jackets the next 2 weeks. Of course, I know they have to travel to Carthage in a couple of weeks, but still, you know, that's going to be 2 tough opponents.
In Coach Satterfield's defense, even the best of programs run a little lean every once in a while, and they just don't have the athletes that we've come to know with Trousdale County football in years past.
And we'll also now look at some more Sonic Carthage scores from Region 4 3A. And Murphy, this one a little closer than I thought it would be. Of course, that is a border ward, Giles County and Franklin County, not far from Pulaski to Winchester. but Allen County gets the win 27-20, so the Rebels must have played pretty well.
Well, in Franklin County, a 5A school, so everybody has an off week, and maybe Giles County that was their off week. I agree with what you had to say. They're a team that I thought might have had a little wider margin of victory there, but a win is a win, as we said earlier.
Bledsoe County over Grundy County 50-8. Community over Perry County 50-14, and Sequatchie County a big win over the Blue Devils 48-0.
Maybe Giles County was looking forward to their game with Sequatchie County later on in the season. I know Sequatchie's putting a lot of points on the board, and that's a nice win for the guys from Dunlap.
Region 5 3A scores. Looking at Sonic with Carthage, East Nashville Murphy 14-0 over Hillsbury. Very impressive win over the Burros.
Yeah, a little closer than I thought. Hillsboro's struggling quite a bit this year, and East Nashville's on such a roll. They got a taste of that championship game action last year before losing to Alcoa. But I'd say right now they're probably the prohibitive favorite to return for that 3A state championship.
Of course, the Owls big was shut out Westmoreland 13-0, and then a couple of shutouts there. Stratford over McGavick 57-0, and Overton over Maplewood. Of course, the Owls host Stratford in the second half of the season.
A big win for Overton. Arcente Broom, the head coach there, was the head coach at Maplewood for so many years, and I know he had to not necessarily run up the score, but he had to be awfully happy about that.
Looking at the Region 4 4A scores, Fayetteville goes to Baxter Murphy and gets a statement win, 29-6 over the Bees.
Yeah, they do. I asked our producer, Justin, back there, an Upperman grad. Sorry, Justin, I just had to mention that. What happened to the Bees? And he didn't know either. That Fayetteville's got some speed, and obviously the speed may have been the difference in that ball game. All we have, I think, is the score on that. But that one shocked me, and I doubt, unless you lived in Lincoln County, there weren't many people picking Fayetteville to win that ball game.
Macon over Trousdale. York gets a win over Livingston, 43-23. That's always a intense rival.
It's the Hatfields versus the McCoys, isn't
Right.
it, almost? Yeah, that one surprised me a little bit. York kind of with a slow start early in the season, but their move to 2A is certainly benefiting the Dragons this year.
Of course, York got a win over Monterey earlier. A lot of people didn't think that would happen. Stone Memorial gets a win over the Wildcats, 18-7. Then Lenore City big over Cumberland County, 40-0. Let's look at some other scores throughout the area. Sonic with Carthage, and Alcoa breaks a little losing streak to Maryville. Gets a huge win for the Tornadoes, Murphy, 27-14 over Maryville.
Brian Nix taking over, the 20-year assistant coach at Alcoa, now the head coach up there, and I'm so happy for him. He's got so much energy and a really, really good guy, and for him to get that win over Maryville in his first effort as a head coach was really big for him.
It's a tremendous rivalry. Schools just a few miles apart. Boyd Buchanan, Gary Rankin and his charges. The Buccaneers continue to roll 38-0 over Howard. I think that was a region game. Oakland, although it was close at halftime, I think it maybe even tied at maybe 24. They come out second half, get the win over Ravenwood 45-31 in a team, or two teams that I think will go deep in the playoffs.
I interviewed Oakland coach Kevin Creasy for my statewide radio show, and he had told me the week before that he didn't have a very good football team, but he had a bunch of overachievers, and boy, did they ever overachieve. He's got a couple of kids on that team that I think they've got jets in the butt of their football pants, because if they make the corner or up the middle, they are gone with smoke behind them.
Cagle goes to Lebanon, and Murphy gets a big win in overtime, 31-28 over the Blue Devils.
Nobody picked that one, I don't think. Chuck Gentry, the head coach at Lebanon, off to a great start this year, undefeated. And Cagle, they didn't let their upcoming game with Oakland deter them at all in getting their first win this year, and that was a big win for them.
In a defensive struggle, White County wins at 59-54 over Cookville.
Yeah, they've got a running back up there that everybody's starting to talk about. That guy is he's got a jet or two in his backside as well.
Week 5, let's look at the games that are coming up. Gordonsville traveling to Morristown to play Lakeway Christian. Joe Burns at Clay County on Thursday night. Clay County on a roll right now, North Green at Red Boiling Springs.
Tell you what, that Clay County-Gordonsville game at the end of the year just keeps getting bigger and bigger because Clay County is putting an awful lot of points on the scoreboard this year, but still a few football games to be played before that one takes place.
Region 4 2A, looking at that, Whites Creek's at Watertown. That's their Huff and Puff game of the week on DTC Sports. Westmoreland at Charleston County, and the Eagles play that tough brand of football, Murphy. It should be a smash mouth game on the creek bank.
I think the first two are pretty easy to predict. I think Watertown wins fairly easy. I think Trousdale County probably gets another loss. But that last game, Harpeth at East Robertson, both of those programs have been down for quite a while, and they're both off to a great start this year. I think that'll be a really good ball game.
Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4 3A, Cannon County at Lookout Valley, down in Chattanooga, Grundy County at Sequatchie, and then Giles County at Community.
Border war in the middle, surrounded by games where somebody's going to have to travel a little extra yardage this year. Cannon County all the way to Chattanooga, and Giles County all the way up to Bedford County.
Looking at the Region 5 3A matchups, Smith County making a long trip to Charleston, which is northeast of Cleveland, to play Walker Valley, a 5A team. And Murphy, a year ago, that was a classic. 3 overtimes. The Mustangs outlast the Owls, but Smith County on somewhat of a roll after losing to DeKalb. They go to Nashville and get a big win, 39-0 shutout, and then a shutout last week, 13-0 to Westmoreland. So Coach Jason Harville's defense gets a back-to-back shutout.
Did you get any extra pay for that triple overtime game last year? That was
I was on the shelf, Murph. That's when I was actually had been in the hospital and just gotten home. So I got to listen on the radio, and I'm telling you, it was a great ball game. The Owls hit a couple of field goals to make that one close, but the Owls go to Maplewood, to Westmoreland. It's their 3rd straight trip on the road, and then East Nashville probably going to be a one-sided affair when they travel to Gainesboro. Let's look at the Region 4 4A matchups. DeKalb County at Cumberland County, Macon at Livingston, Upham at Stone. Upham and Stone probably the only game there that might be a close one.
Yeah, but I think the visiting team in all 3 games comes away with a road win this week.
We'll have an interview with DeKalb County Assistant Principal Thomas Cagle when we return to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team.
There's no shortage of real estate companies out there, but there's only one Blackwell Realty and Auction. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction has the knowledge and the experience necessary to help you. They understand that real estate sales happen because of the hours of work they put into every sale, whether representing you as the buyer, the seller, or both. Get started today the Kirby way. The Kirby team with Blackwell Realty and Auction. Call them today or visit blackwellrealtyandauction.com.
Opioid overdoses continue to claim lives in Tennessee. Naloxone, an opioid reversal drug, can save lives. Call the Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition for a free, quick, and confidential training. Also, if you are struggling with substance use disorder due to your alcohol and drug use, help is only a phone call away. Call the Tennessee Red Line. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master, certified, and experienced heavy-duty maintenance techs, maintenance supervisor, entry-level and experienced miners and exploration infill drillers, grade operator, electricians, laboratory and metallurgical technician, senior metallurgist, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And We're visiting now with DeKalb County Assistant Principal and Assistant AD Thomas Cagle. And Coach, we're going to talk about fall sports. I know everybody's focus is football, but there's a lot of other things that are going on in Smithville at DeKalb County High School.
Yes, sir. I mean, fall time around any high school gets pretty busy. Golf is already in full swing, cross country kicking off, girls soccer. Lots of different sports that are going on and things that are happening with lots of different athletes.
You missed volleyball. I'm assuming you all do have a volleyball team, right?
No, sir. We are one of the only schools in this region that do not have a volleyball team.
Oh, my gosh. Is there any kind of a movement on to maybe get one?
Well, last year we had a big group. We had a teacher that was here that was interested in starting a team. And started going through the process of what that would look like, got bids to put in polls, and kind of had everything set. But that teacher, unfortunately, ended up, they moved across the country and are now in Seattle. So the momentum stopped when they left, and we didn't have anybody else that was willing to pick up the flag at the time. But we're very interested in starting a volleyball program and have a lot of kids here at the school that are interested. It's just finding a teacher or sponsor or someone that would be willing to commit the time to starting a program. And we've got all the details ready. We just need somebody to head it up.
Mr. Cagle, when you look at the many different sports that you've got going on in the fall, one of the most successful ones that I always remember for DeKalb was golf, boys and girls golf. You've had kids to go on to the Division I level and play at the SEC level. There's a tremendous work ethic with those kids because through the years when I used to play golf, you used to see those kids out there day and night practicing. It makes the coach look good. I guess at that time was Mr. Hayes, but those kids had tremendous resolve and tremendous dedication to their sport.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, golf is one of those, overlooked sports sometimes from just the amount of time and dedication those kids need to put in to practice and perfect their game. Whether it's just, going to the driving range and working with different clubs and different levels to try to get the right, yardage down to kind of get used to their shots, or if it's just playing, a round of 18 and just kind of getting used to different courses throughout the Upper Cumberland. Coach John Pryor has done an outstanding job since I've been here. He's been the golf coach, I believe, now for at least the last 7 years that I've been here, and doing a great job with those kids. We've had some great kids come through in my time here at the school. Anna Chu being one that graduated 3 years ago and is playing golf, I believe, at Trevecca. And then we have a pretty good young group that's come through this year. We're actually hosting the district golf tournament this year, and the regional golf tournament. We'll be hosting it in Cookville. We have several kids, Allison Poss, Emily Anderson, Braden Summers, William Blair, Bradley Hale, Cooper Goodwin, Aiden Sprague, and Aiden Ramirez are all going to be representing DeKalb County High School in the district golf tournament next Monday.
When you look at that, there's been a lot of success and the groundwork's been laid, I guess you could say, for those kids. I remember Payne Denman, if I remember right, was a very good golfer, and he may have been the one that went to Florida. But when you look at the success, I know Jim Alexander, a longtime golf pro there at Smithville Golf Club, right in Smithville where the swimming pool is there, he always encouraged and gave those kids free lessons. He did the little things to try to get the youth involved in the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still a lot of those things going on. And I think that any program to have any sort of success past, what a coach and a coaching staff is able to do has to have great community support and great set of parents and those people behind them really helping behind the scenes set up that success. If you look at any successful school over the last few years, you can probably trace some of that success down to their junior pro level, their rec league level, what's going on in those areas of any of those sports that's helping prepare those kids that go into middle school and then eventually into high school.
Thomas, we had an opportunity just for ever short period of time before we came on the air to find a little bit about yourself. And obviously you come from quite an athletic family, kind of growing up in the Pikeville, Bledsoe County area for the most part. But as a coach, what was the one thing about being an athletic director maybe that surprised you a whole lot? Everybody kind of thinks that there's a lot of paperwork involved there, but it's much more than that, isn't it?
Well, I think the big thing is being there to support your coaches. I think that's the one thing that I've taken in my role as a co-athletic director is there's a lot of ins and outs for every sport in different things that they need support with. That sometimes coaches get into a habit, I know myself as a coach, get into a habit of me, or that I'm going to do it, I'm going to take care of it to make sure it's done right. And so I've strived in my role to be that support pillar of, if something needs to be done and the coach does need support or an extra hand, that I'm there and that I do it to the best of the ability that I would if I was that head coach. So that kind of takes some of the worry out for those coaches of relinquishing a little bit of that responsibility to hopefully someone that they can depend on and count on when they really do get into those times of the season where they need that extra support.
I know that dealing with the financial part of it, that's not, for the most part, except football, a revenue-producing sport. And it's sometimes, I'm sure, hard whether you are in cross country or soccer or whatever sport you may be in. They probably don't make as much money, and they have to get out and fundraise and do the different things they have to. Tell me what a strain that is probably on those coaches and those athletes to have to do that and kind of, I'm not going to say fund their own way, but have some expense there that maybe a football player or a basketball player does not.
Well, I think that we are very fortunate in DeKalb County that we have a very generous community. We have businesses that sponsor multiple sports, that sponsor multiple athletes. The school itself has helped with different athletes in different times depending on the need. We've never wanted cost to be prohibitive for any child to play any kind of sport, no matter what it is. And we are, like I said, ourselves at the school, but outside of that, I can't say enough about the community that we have here in DeKalb County and just how supportive and how generous they are with helping all of our different sports programs. It can be very stressful for a coach to, especially some of those sports that maybe the gate doesn't really generate the revenue that a football or basketball might for some of your other sports. And trying to find those funds can be difficult, especially when you're really trying to grow a program or having success on the field and trying to make everything else around what the success on the field is match where you're getting on the field. So, like I said, I think since we've been here, in my time here, I feel like we've been very blessed in what our community's been able to do for our athletes and for our coaches and for our school and sports.
Coach, that's very well said. I've lived the vast majority of my adult life in three different Upper Cumberland communities, and especially where basketball and football and maybe baseball and softball in some isolated situations are concerned, but the crowd support is tremendous. I was up there recently when you all hosted Macon County, and I didn't hardly see an empty seat in the house, and it was a loud, supportive crowd that was really cheering the kids on from start to finish. And that's what really thrills me most about small communities like that, because the vast majority of those people didn't have a son or a daughter. They probably had a grandson or a granddaughter at those events, but they just keep coming to the football field or the basketball gym or wherever the activity is taking place, and that's what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. And Coach Trapp, in my time working under him, one of the things he always put out there for the players was that, he always felt that our purpose was to be able to affect other people, and that we were just lucky enough to be able to do that through the sport of football. And so we've always had this firm belief that, if football or the other fall sports, that's the first real picture the community has of our school, of our students, of what we represent. We go back to the school motto with Tiger Pride. I mean, that's more than just a motto. That's really what we believe in our kids and what we want them to have. And so when the community comes out to any of our games or our students travel to another place, we want to represent that all the way around. And we feel that if we have a good, strong start to the school year with some success, whether that success is on the scoreboard or not, but just with the play that the student athletes are able to show on the field, that usually equates to a good start for the school year and helps as far as just the flow of the school year and how much we have an impact on the rest of the student body and the community as a whole.
Mr. Cagle, we appreciate you visiting with us. I know it's a busy time of year for you and all the fall sports at DeKalb County High School. Best of luck in all of those endeavors.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and wish you guys nothing but the best. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, you know where I'm at.
Well, we appreciate it. We always appreciate the hospitality that we're shown when we come to cover one of your events. We'll look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week, plus get Murphy's matchups when we return to the box score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Kirby team.
So, go check it out.
Deterring crime. It's the first job of a home security system from DTC Security. For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started. Let us help protect your home.
So?
A lot of nice stuff and an alarm.
Don't delay. Call DTC Security now or visit us online.
Don't be fooled. Vaping is just another way to deliver nicotine to your lungs. Learn the facts and escape the vape. We get it. Quitting is hard, but getting help is easy. Call the Tennessee Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW for free counseling and cessation patches. Sign up for the free Tennessee Tobacco Quit line program and let us help you quit for good. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for master, certified, and experienced heavy-duty maintenance techs, maintenance supervisor, entry-level and experienced miners and exploration infill drillers, grade operator, electricians, laboratory and metallurgical technician, senior metallurgist, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the box score for the finale, I guess you'd say, Murphy. And I know this is a part that we enjoyed, I guess, last Thursday night doing, and that was the Gordonsville Junior High at Smith County Middle game over in Carthage. The Owls come out with a 38-0 win. Riley Martin, outstanding night for him, 5 for 7, 149 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Throw in 6 rushes for 125 and a couple more scores. So if you'll do the math on that, Murphy, in 13 plays that of course he touched it every play because he's a quarterback, but 274 yards. Of course, a big 84, 86-yard run there at the end of the first half. He's just done a great job for David Reed in his first year as a head coach. And I said this with Mark Medley on the radio broadcast. I don't know that I've ever seen a more talented Smith County Middle School or junior high football team.
It'll be interesting to see what happens next year when those two quarterbacks, the varsity quarterback and the middle school quarterback, get together. The Powell kid and the Martin kid. That's going to be an interesting battle for field general honors.
Cole Hackett, 3 receptions for 60 yards. Tyler Jones, one receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown. He touched it twice. He scored twice. That's a pretty good average. For Gordonsville, they battled. Give Adam Shaw's bunch. He's in his first year as a head coach. An impressive Murphy that Stephen Jackson is one of the assistant coaches. And, that's a tremendous lot of work, I know, for Stephen, but he realizes just the importance of building that junior high program.
Absolutely. I mean, his blood runs blue too.
Right.
And he's happy to be back home, and I think that's what small town high school football is all about, and obviously middle school football as well.
5 for 12 is Aiden Miller for 48 yards, an interception. Waylon Kennedy, his favorite target, 3 receptions for 38 yards. But Murphy, they could never get a ground game going. I know at one time, I think it was like 17 rushes for 1 yard. So the Owls up front, they were bringing people from everywhere. Cornerbacks, safeties, linebackers, and Miller was running for his life for most of the ball game.
Probably had a few more kids dressed out for the game too, and it gave them an opportunity to play more kids and put fresher kids on the field from start to finish.
Well, ironically, Gordonsville had more people on the roster. Both teams had 19 8th graders each.
Oh my gosh.
And there was 36, if I remember, on the Tigers roster and 34 on the Owls roster, which is great numbers, I think. But still, I think good things to come. Let's look at the replay dates for that, if you want to watch that, from that last Thursday night game on Friday, September 16th at 1 o'clock, Sunday, September 18th at 7, Monday, September 19th at 7, and then Saturday, September 24th will be at 1, will be the battle of, I guess, Smith County, Gordonsville Junior High at Smith County Middle, which the middle school won. Let's go ahead and look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week. It's Whites Creek at Watertown. It's only the second time that these two teams have got together. The first meeting was last year in Nashville down at Whites Creek. We'll have that game for you on Friday night at 6:45. You can go to DTC3.tv for that. But the Cobras traveling up here to the Purple Tigers in Watertown after last week getting off that good start against DeKalb and losing 26-14. I know they're ready with Gavin Webster to get back on the winning track.
It'll be interesting. Like you said, that's only the second time those two teams have squared off against each other. Whites Creek, a team that finished runner-up in the state back in, I think, 1999, if not 98, somewhere along in there. But a program that's been struggling a bit as over the last few years. But nonetheless, should be an interesting game. There'll be a lot of athletes on the field for sure.
Let's look at the history between these. We already mentioned that. Second time, Watertown won 38-8 last year. Cobras still looking for their first playoff appearance since 2018. Gavin Webster in his 18th season at Watertown, 129 wins, 71 losses, 200 games overall. And then Coach William Darnell in his fourth season for the Cobras. Let's go ahead and look at some Murphy's picks. And Murphy, take it away.
Well, DeKalb County back in region action, going all the way to Crossville. Cumberland County still struggling this year, really having a hard time up there, and I think DeKalb gets a nice win to keep themselves still in the race. They've still got to play Upperman, so we'll see how that one turns out here in a few more weeks. Got to go with DeKalb in that one. Smith County at Walker Valley. Terry, as you said, last year, 3 overtimes before the Owls came up just a little bit short. I don't know that they can do that at Walker Valley, just outside of Cleveland, Tennessee. I'm going to have to go with Walker Valley in that one. Cannon County visiting Lookout Valley. Cannon got a win last week at Webb of Bell Buckle. They've got that finally put 4 quarters together in the same night, and I look for Cannon County to get a win on the road as well. Same with Gordonsville. They're going to Lakeway Christian, a program that's been underway not very long, 4 or 5 years, I think. It's a private school just outside of Morristown, and I'll look for Gordonsville to win as big as they want to. And then Whites Creek at Watertown, that's kind of a no-brainer there. I look for Watertown to come away with a big win there as well.
Of course, Lakeway Christian, they've got one kid's a Division I recruit, and anytime you've got somebody like that on the field, Murphy, that kind of, I'm sure, kind of bothers Steven Jackson.
Yeah, a little bit. Anytime you get somebody like that at a skill position where he has a chance to put his hands on the football, he's probably one of those kids that's capable of scoring anytime he touches the ball.
Of course, Whites Creek at Watertown, we've already said that we expect a Purple Tiger win. We want to thank you for watching the Box Score, brought to you by Blackwell Realty and the Josh Kirby team. For Murphy Ferret, Justin Malden, I'm Terry Collins. Good night on the Box Score.